welcome and thank you for sticking around. We're going to try to keep this fun. And for this to work, you guys have to laugh at our jokes, or this is going to really demoralize us, and we won't be able to get through the 20 minutes. Excuse me, sir. You seem lost. This is supposed to be disruptive feast. The only thing disruptive about that is your look.
I'm sorry, but excuse me. We were the originators of disruption. We were the initial property technology. So I don't know how you can say that I'm not disruptive. We created market data analysis, which we allowed us to go to computers, take off all the data for weeks and weeks and weeks, and then analyze that data for more weeks and more weeks to then give you the information you wanted. We connected people to the internet. At that time, 0.5% of the world was connected to the internet. How is that not disruptive? We created games like SimCity that let you create a city by sitting at your computer. You could then connect to the internet through your dial-up connection that would take around half an hour to connect. But it would connect to the internet eventually unless someone called you, and then it would get disruptive. But we disrupted the market. How can you say that we are not disruptive?
This is 2018. We're past the dial-up. There's 5 billion people connected through mobile devices. The world has changed. It's about instant insights and predictive models using artificial intelligence, machine learning. You need to evolve, sir. You're in the wrong place.
Yes, but why, if I'm talking about the hotel industry, why? Why do we, as the behemoth, we have been around for decades and decades and decades. We have hotels of millions of rooms worldwide. We have trillions, 500 billion in revenue, in global revenue. Why do we need to bow down to companies that have been around for 5 years?
Are you serious? You're not joking. You're serious. People know what's coming next. These small little companies, they pack a heavy punch, right? They're starting to eat your lunch. You know, we've looked at a lot of examples earlier today. Airbnb is another example, where 9% of all travelers prefer an option similar to Airbnb. They are growing their listings over 100% over every year. Their revenues are growing exponentially. It's been quoted that they are taking $450 million of revenue away from hotels every year. What did you say, $500 billion revenue? That's 10%. In addition to that, because of Airbnb bookings, hotels are also losing F&B businesses. They're able to generate a lot more return with a lot less people and with a lot less costs, increasing margin, hence justifying their valuation, which is higher than the biggest hotel chain out there.
Yes, but we, as hotels, we've got our loyalty boards and programs. We have potentially hundreds of millions of users, so how can we benefit? How can we use that? If we're not using it now, then how does this help? How does this help us?
You need to innovate, right? And it's a state of mind. And we've looked at a lot of examples. It's talking about a lot of examples. So I won't repeat a lot of that. But just an observation to get out of a role play here for a second, because it isn't working. You guys are not laughing, so we're gonna kill that. You guys are disrupting us. So, but just an observation, right? And no disrespect. We've all been getting a lot of emails from AHIC about this event, and one of the hashtags was not an average AHIC, right? And one of the things in the emails was, we're in a beach setting, comfort, no jackets, no ties, no heels.
So
look around you, right? Look around you. Everyone's wearing a jacket. Everyone's got heels on, right? So it's a state of mind. You need to challenge the status quo, and that's been talked about during the whole day in terms of the themes, right? And one of the things, and we titled our presentation here, Disruptive Disruptors, right? You guys have an opportunity. You have all the tools at hand that all these new innovative companies have had, right? The only difference is they understand, and one of the panel discussions they talked about, you are also a customer, right? So you need to empathize, right? How many people here have heard about design thinking? Wow, right? That's what your competition is doing. And your competition is not the other hotel chain. Your competition is Google. Your competition is Facebook. Just to give you a few examples, whoever booked a flight using your Gmail account, right? Do you get in your calendar right away when your flight is, correct? Now, Google tells me a message saying, Siddiq, you should leave your house 11:30 to make sure you make it in the airport in time to catch your flight. The moment you are in the check-in counter, my Emirates app sends me a message after the Google sends me a message. You are boarding, sir. Go to your gate. You land, you get a notification. Why isn't hotel industry able to capture that and give that user an experience from the moment they leave their house to the moment they arrive in their hotel without interacting with anyone? That seamless experience. These are just some ideas. But one of the ideas we really want to hone on in this presentation is this new phenomena of democratizing everything, right? There was supposed to be a talk about blockchain and so forth earlier today. I don't know if that's why the crowd is over here or not. But the idea is to have that two-way network that Fritz was talking about, where you connect the providers to the consumers, right? So this crowdfunding element. Has anyone heard of crowdfunding? Right? So I'll touch base about that, and feel free to interject questions and so forth as we're going through this. There's different forms of crowdfunding, right? There's the debt side of crowdfunding, where it's purely peer-to-peer lending. There's equity crowdfunding as well, too, where people sort of pool money and support a cause, whether it's a reward base or actually putting equity in a startup and so forth. What we want to focus on is on the equity element of it, right? Because we really think by giving people a sense of ownership, you are gaining a lot more loyal customers being able to do that. So essentially how it works, essentially you sort of create a marketplace, a platform where you put opportunities where, on one side, from a real estate perspective, you have inventory providers that are providing investment opportunities. That could be hospitality assets, it could be commercial assets, it could be residential assets. On the other side, you have these fragmented investors that have all this capital and don't know what to do with it, and you're giving an opportunity. You're lowering the entry barrier for the masses. Just to give you some statistics, real estate asset class is the largest asset class in the world, $217 trillion. You know what percentage of the world population has access to it? Any guesses? 12%. No. But that 12% has, majority of the buying power, right? 88% of the world population has absolutely no access to this asset class, right? It's
and if you look at where it came from, you go back to, say, 2007, 2008, the financial crisis, banks stopped lending. So there were good developers out there were good people out there for real estate opportunities, but the banks weren't willing to lend. So why not open that opportunity up to the crowd, to everyone, to people that want to get a return, they're no longer getting a return from the banks. Why not give them a secure opportunity to invest their money? And that's where the crowdfunding model came from.
That is a very valid point, right? But the challenge is, when you're doing on the lending side, you're not giving that people a sense of ownership.
Yeah.
They don't have anything to gain from it. Right? It's just this is a sort of a secured lending through an asset, right? And I don't think the supply is an issue, right? There's enough supply coming in. There's enough financiers to finance these great projects. It's about how do you use an innovative model like this to gain more user base, that more repetition, to lower your customer acquisition costs, to have that repeat customer and increase your margins and so forth. But one of the common questions so this is just to give you an idea. This is very nascent. This crowdfunding element has been around for less than a decade, and real estate crowdfunding in particular has only been around for 4 or 5 years. Right? These are some statistics to show you the size of it. In America's crowdfunding market is already close to $26 billion. In EMEA, it's expected to, Asia Pac is expected to reach 42 billion. It's growing exponential rate. But what's really interesting in this entire space, real estate crowdfunding is the fastest growing segment. And it makes sense, right? People relate to real estate. It's a hard, tangible asset. People feel inherently secure in putting their asset. The chances of that investment going to zero is very slim, unless the building blows up, but then you have insurance and so forth to cover that. So people just naturally feel accustomed to it, ease of reference, and sort of risk profile is very different from investing in lending or in equity in a business, for example. One of the common themes we get asked is, how is this any different from your existing alternative real estate investment sort of funds, REITs, or private funds, etc.? There's a lot of reasons. At the core of it, a platform like this empowers people to make their own decision, take the destiny in their own hands, right? So they decide where their capital is being deployed. They have full transparency on where their capital is going and how they generate their income. They have control on their investment. They decide when they want to get in, when they want to get out. it's a lot more cost effective. So your returns are even more attractive than going through a fund. We all know who makes money in funds. Fund managers will always make money. Whether the investor makes money or not, you have to wait to find out when you get your dividends, right? And it gives you a better diversification play. When you have money in a fund and so forth, and especially a public REIT and so forth, you don't necessarily get the same level of diversification that a direct real estate offers. So this is where the opportunity is for the hotels, right? And I'll let Jake talk about in terms of what that opportunity is.
So basically, if you're looking at an investment, you yourself, you may not have access to purchase a hotel unit or a hotel. If you can then go to a crowd and collectively go, here is an opportunity for you to invest, you would then tell your friend, that friend would tell their friend, say, here is a great opportunity. So then there is a network effect, not just on the investment, but then the vested interest to then go use that hotel, to then promote that hotel because you have a collective interest within that hotel. So therefore, there is an added element of marketing for that hotel just from the network of the crowd.
And just elaborating further, one of the points that was made in the panel discussion was about storytelling, right? So imagine you have all these investors in your platform that own piece of property, and it doesn't have to be the property, the hotel room. It could be a subsegment of it. It could be a restaurant within the hotel space and so forth. But imagine these people that actually own a piece of the property. They have a vested interest of the success of it. You have all these bunch of storytellers, right? All of a sudden, your marketing costs start looking different, right? You have champions of your asset going and promoting it. It's in their best interest to do so. If they have visitors coming out of town, where do you think they're going to ask them to stay? Stay at the hotel. They were not, obviously not going to tell them they have money invested in there, but they would want you to go stay there because they will benefit from it, right? If they want to go out and they want to have a staycation, where are they going to go? It's almost like time sharing, but at a whole different level where you are benefiting economically from that asset, right? And you're incentivized to encourage other people to use it. You know, the other example is things that you own, you take better care of, right? A good example is rental cars, right? What do you take care better of? A rental car or a car that you own? A car that you own. So imagine if you own part of the city that you live in. Would you not take better care of it? Would you not ensure that the environmentals around that, you're going to keep the city cleaner, you're going to take better care of it because you have a vested interest in the growth and the success of that community. You get a better buy-in, right? And that could be very powerful in certain parts of the world where you are trying to do projects in sensitive areas and so forth, and you need the community buy-in. It doesn't have to be an entire project. It could be a portion of a project where you're allocating an ability for public to participate. The other thing I just want to mention is, you know, the real estate world is changing, right? Long are the days where you have your office spaces on long-term leases, and then you have your commercial spaces, and you have your hotel rooms and so forth. It's all intermingling with the creation of, you know, with the flexible working environment, co-sharing spaces, and so forth. You're going to start seeing a lot of immersion of real estate into one, right? You're going to see one building that will have residential, that will have hotels, that will have office space, co-sharing space, that will have commercial space, all into one, right? Your business will have to evolve, right? It's not going to be same, right? Your revenue, your revenue matrix is going to evolve. It can't just be your average room night rate as well as your F&B and so forth. You have to look at different verticals. You have to look at the whole entire experience of your customers as to what they're going through, right? One of the things that one of the things that you have at your disposal is this what Jake mentioned about loyalty programs and so forth. Here's a thought-provoking idea, right? I'm of the view loyalty point cards and so forth are dead. Fast forward 10 years, you won't see them, right? And I'll give you an example of a company that is phenomenal at this, right? What is the main reason for loyalty points? Why do you have a loyalty card? Why do I carry a Skywards card in my pocket? Why?
To keep
Anyone?
people coming back.
It's retention, right? Lower the cost of acquisition. You want repeat customer, right? Think of a company like Amazon. Do they have a loyalty program? No. What is their one product that keeps their customers coming back to them? Their product, one of their services, name it. Prime. Is it free or you have to pay for it? You pay. You pay for loyalty. That is thought-provoking, right? Imagine your customers paying you for their loyalty to you. You got to start thinking that. You have a lot of loyalty members, right? I was reading a pamphlet in the registration bag that we got. Hilton, 70 million people of loyal. Imagine if you can convert those into equity owners in some of your hotels, right? Converting that loyalty points. If you have a regular traveler that's racking up points, an extra free night, nice to have. He's going to come and stay at that hotel regardless, right? But if you can convert that point into satisfy some other needs and get them exposure to an equity, you're changing the whole ballgame. You need to start thinking these what-ifs, right? You can't continue to think in your status quo, and this has been the sort of the consistent theme in all the talks that we've been having, like how do you disrupt the disruptors? All these new companies like Airbnbs, Booking.coms, and so forth, you know, the people that are at the helm and leading these organizations, again, one of the consistent themes coming out, getting down and dirty, understanding what the customer needs, empathizing, ideating, prototyping, testing, failing, starting the process again. That needs to happen for you guys to disrupt the disruptors. We're here to take some questions. We have a few minutes, or we'll be around to answer any questions you have as well, too. Just to a plug, we didn't talk about ourselves. We're from SmartCrowd, a regionally Dubai-based real estate crowdfunding platform. We're the first ones in the regions to be given a regulatory license to do what we're trying to do. We just got a regulatory approval after 11 months of hard discussions with financial regulators. We're based in DIFC, regulated by the DFSA. We'll be, inshallah, launching summer of this year, and we are very keen to provide these kind of opportunities to the masses in the world and open up the sort of sector for the retail investors to be able to participate in the growth. And with the recent announcement on the weekend with time-sharing laws coming in Dubai, I think this is a great opportunity for the hospitality sector to get ahead of potential other digital competition or disruptors that are coming to the market. Any questions? Yes.
What will it require for hotels to charge for loyalty? Will it be Marriott doing it and then everyone following?
That's a good question. I don't know if what it will take. Why do you have to follow someone, right? Someone has to take that step and have that crazy ideas, right? Has anyone considered a subscription model for hotels for your regular travelers, right? Why should it only be per night stay, right? If you have a regular customer that's coming in, a business travel, you see 265 days you're on the road. Has any hotel come to you like, listen, we'll do a deal for you, 10,000 for the year. You can stay at any hotel you want, of your choice. If somebody offered that, would you be interested? Potentially, right? Think about it. Test it. Test it with your customers. Why not? Why should this gentleman be charged the same way who travels 265 days than this person who maybe travels once a week in the entire year, right? If a business traveler, I'm in a hotel, I put my bags in, I'm out the meetings, I come all day, I'm out, I come in, sleep, the next day check out, I fly out. Whereas another person comes in and, it's a staycation, enjoys all the amenities. Why those two gentlemen should pay the same price? You talk about dynamic pricing in terms of supply, demand, and so forth, that Booking.coms of the world and so forth, Priceline are using to help you guys book. But why does the dynamic pricing have to stop there? Why doesn't it come down into the actual experience, the person utilizing your asset, right? Imagine, just throw out how the business is done, start from scratch, and I highly, highly recommend pick up a book, read some articles on design thinking. It will blow your mind in terms of how this is all that these new businesses are doing. The Airbnb of the world, the WeWorks, all these new disruptive models, they're all coming out of design thinking thought process. I believe you have a question. Anyone have a question? You look very engaged. I thought you were going to ask a question or punch me or one or the other. Any other questions? Thank you very much for listening to us.
Thank you, guys.